Okay, bear with me, this is gonna be a lot. So the next chunk of my videos are all gonna be a part of a series of what I think the next Mario Kart game will be. I made a community post about this, but basically, all the tracks I've been making so far, I want to group them together. So each cup will have its own video, so you'll get 4 tracks per video. Except for this one, because I'm introducing the characters and items. I'll go ahead and say this though, my main concept for this is translating Tour to a mainline Mario Kart game. Because that game introduced a lot of cool new things that I think could work so much better outside of a mobile game. Everyone knows about its ridiculous character roster, but there's other things in this game that I don't think most people are aware of, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, first off, we'll start with the characters. So first of all, who did I cut from Mario Kart 8? All the babies gone. They don't need to be here, and even if they did, we did not need 5. I think the only reason they're here is so younger players can have a character to resonate with, but I honestly think kids would rather pick literally any other character. All the Kooplings are also gone. I don't mind them, but I don't think they're important enough to take up an entire row of the select screen. I know they have their fans, but I think we can live without them. All of the clone characters are gone too. I wanted to give everyone a few alts, so most of these characters will just be demoted to that slot. I also got rid of the DLC characters since I'm on the side that Mario Kart should just stay Mario Kart and not cross over too much. So no characters from other games, for the most part. If anything, I think a new crossover DLC could be put out with different franchises, but I'll talk about that at a different time. I also wanted to stay away from Mario RPG games, for the most part, because everyone really wants minor characters from every RPG to be in a Mario Kart, and I honestly don't get it. The RPG games have a really different feel from traditional Mario, and I think having a large chunk of the roster dedicated to these guys would be kinda weird. Not to mention, the majority of people who have played Mario Kart have not played every single Mario RPG game. So keeping more recurring mainline characters would make a stronger roster in my eyes. So now we can start looking at the actual roster. You start off with 18 characters, and then 18 are unlockable. So we got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Toad, Toadette, Yoshi, Birdo, Wario, Waluigi, Bowser, Bowser Jr., King Boo, Koopa Troopa, Shy Guy, and the Mii. I decided unlocking characters can be a little different in this game. So the races are grouped into 3 sets of 5 cups, and beating the first 4 cups of any set will each get you a character. To actually unlock the character though, you have to challenge them to a special race. Kind of like mission mode. I haven't thought of the challenges yet, but I'll get to that in another video when I actually, think of stuff. Returning unlockable characters include Rosalina, but this time having her Luma back. I still don't know why they took it out. Pauline, Kamek, Wiggler, and Funky Kong. We've also got some characters from Tour, like King Bob-omb, Nabbit, Chart and Chuck, and Dixie Kong. For the newcomers, I'm just now realizing a lot of these are really out of pocket, but just stick with me. I've replaced Petey with a normal piranha plant, which everyone would probably hate, but I don't care. I think the normal plant is silly. He's like a weird dog, and he's my favorite Smash character. I think Petey could also work as some kind of alt for him too. So yeah, it's mostly just bias that got him in, but I would love to see him in an actual Mario Kart game. We've also got King K. Rool. Everyone loves this guy, and I think it'd be really cool to see him in a spin-off besides Super Mario Sluggers. And yeah, he fits well in this Donkey Kong row I've got going. Next we have Womp. Yes, I'm serious. Some of the most beloved Mario Kart characters are just really insane picks, like Rob and Honey Queen. Why are they here? No one knows, but it's funny. So I think it'd be really great to just add a gray block of concrete as a playable character. The last character I've got is another out there pick, and it's the reward for collecting all the characters. I don't know what the general consensus is on the Mario and Rabbids games, but I think Rabbid Kong would be a really great and funny Mario Kart character. In the games, he's just really goofy, and I feel like they could do a lot with his animations. He also helps finish out this row of Donkey Kong characters, so I think that's pretty fitting. And sure, I said no spin-off RPG characters. One of the biggest requests for the next Mario Kart game is a double dash mode. I also think this would be cool, but I don't really see Nintendo doing this. One thing I did want to bring back from that game though was characters having special items. The only thing is, having around 80 different items per race seems a little much. So to compromise this, I made adjacent characters on the roster share this special item. If you want, you can group these characters together for a double dash mode, but just know that the idea is more of an afterthought than anything, and all the stuff coming up isn't designed with a double dash mode in mind. Anyways, let's look at the normal items real quick. I've sorted the items into 3 color-coded categories, being speed, trap and defense, and attack. Because even after splitting the special items in half, there's 42 total, and you know, I want to give people a general idea of what item they have to do. Alright, so items returning from 8 include the mushroom, triple mushroom, bullet bill, star, banana, bob-omb, green shell, red shell, both triple shells, spiny shell, fire flower, and lightning. None of these items have significant changes. I've got 2 new items for the speed category. First is the feather. It can be used in normal races, and it now has a new ability. When you use it, it launches you in the air and opens your glider, which will either let you fly above the track for a little bit, or allow more advanced players to take a new type of shortcut. Our first actually new item is the drill mushroom. It's basically the opposite of the feather, and using it will send you underground. This lets you avoid attacks, and you can cut through off-road sections while underground without losing speed. The duration is a little longer than a mushroom, but it provides no speed boost. You can also fall off the track if you try to drive where there's nothing to dig through. For both of these items, having smart steering on will take more of an effect in any of these states, since again, they're going to be pretty advanced items. So for beginner players, they basically just act like an alternative, worse bullet bill. Moving to the trap category, we have the return of the banana bunch, which is just 5 bananas being dragged in a line behind you. In the same vein, I added the double bob-omb from Tor. I thought it was a neat enough addition, and I think different numbers of group items will give more variety to the game, instead of it just being like, here's the shell, here's the triple shell, here's the banana, here's the triple banana. The Super Leaf also returns from Mario Kart 7, keeping its function as a very good first place defense item, as well as a decent close range attack. Also returning is the fake item box, but it's actually good again. You can only tell it apart by its upside down question mark, so it serves its purpose a lot better than being a giant red glowing box. I thought about letting it be usable for defense again, but with the removal of the coin item, I think there needs to be at least one first place item that doesn't provide any defense, especially with the re-addition of the leaf. You just gotta keep that Mario Kart item randomness, you know? Next up is the Super Bell. This item was in Mario Kart Tour, and it basically just functioned like a super horn, except it rang multiple times. Here, it's basically just a reskin of the super horn. It only rings once. I just think the Super Bell is cooler and more iconic than just some random horn. The last new item for the trap category is the double cherry. Activating this will spawn a clone of you that drives near you, and it'll confuse any kind of homing attack, and even a blue shell if it ends up in front of you. It will immediately be destroyed when hit. This driver is controlled by a CPU that matches the difficulty of the game CPU, so if you're playing with hard comms, the clone will be hard. It also has a rubber band AI, which basically just makes it faster if it falls too far behind. That way the clone will be able to stay closer to the driver better. It can also use items if it happens to pick one up, and it lasts for 30 seconds before disappearing on its own. Moving on to the attack category, we only have one new item, that being the cannon. Mario Kart Tour had a lot of cannon items that launched an item all over the track. There was a mushroom cannon, banana cannon, and bomb cannon. So this is kind of a remnant of that. This cannon will spawn in front of your car as soon as you roll it, but doesn't shoot until activated by the user. It'll periodically fire 5 strong bullet bills straight forward, and create a small explosion on impact. There's also a chance for the bullet to be red and home in on racers. When this is activated, it counts as a use, so you can go ahead and move on to your next item. A lot of people hated the piranha plant because it would just leave you defenseless in the back for a while, so I think this would solve that problem. So that's the normal items, but we have 15 more special items to cover right now. I also want to go ahead and say that these items will be pretty rare, since having this much of an abundance of items would be a lot if the special items could spawn very frequently. Mario and Luigi have their Fire Burst attack from Double Dash. It functions the exact same here, launching a row of fireballs forward or backwards. Peach and Daisy now have the Parasol item. This is a defensive item that when activated will automatically protect the car from incoming attacks. Also, if another racer is nearby, it'll activate and harshly bump them, possibly knocking them off the track. This can activate or protect you 3 times before disappearing. Rosalina and Pauline will have the Star Rings. This is an item from Mario Kart Tour, and it spawns 3 star rings that will appear in front of the user a small distance down the track. It'll expire when the user drives through them, but until then, other racers can also use it. Toad has the Golden Dash Room, and Toadette has the Rose Gold Dash Room. They're identical, I just thought it would be cool to reskin a few items. They both act identical to the Golden Shroom's past appearances. Yoshi and Birdo have the Egg, also identical to its past appearances. Wario and Waluigi now have the Fuzzy item. It acts identical to the Heart power-up, just with a more menacing look. I thought the ability of stealing fit Mario and Waluigi's character more than Peach and Daisy's, and also just kind of thought the heart was a really boring concept for an item. This also serves as a reference to their stealing ability from the Paper Mario games. Bowser and Bowser Jr. have the Bowser shell. It keeps its function from Double Dash, basically just serving as a very large green shell. Kamek and King Boo have the ability to teleport. It's pretty self-explanatory. It'll just teleport you a fair distance down the track. It'll also spin out other racers if you happen to teleport pretty close to them. King Bob-omb and Nabbit have the Giga Bomb, another item from Tour. This can't be used for defense, and instead you just launch it forward and it'll bounce along the track. It's basically just a normal bomb but with a more range and a larger blast radius. Koopa and Shy Guy have the triple spiny shell. Yes, I know that sounds like an awful idea, but hear me out. When you get this item, they'll orbit your car like a normal triple shell, and it can hit other racers without using of the item. But if they get hit by another item, it'll explode and knock your cart out. It's usually in your best interest to launch it immediately. In doing so, the 3 shells will fly along the track, attacking 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. The 1st place shell has wings, so it will fly above the track, and it's the only one that explodes on impact. The 2nd and 3rd place shell will still attack their respective racers, even if they have a defensive item. The only counter, of course, being the Super Bell. And again, this item is already rare, but it only has a chance to spawn once per race, so don't worry about it too much. Piranha Plant and Wiggler have the Albino Munchers. Yes, I know that's not the right name, but I am not comfortable saying it out loud. This would spawn 3 revolving munchers around the cart that can be used for defense, or you can throw it forwards or backwards. They would jump and move around the track towards other racers, and then latch onto their carts when they make contact. This would slow down the victim for a while. It is possible to pick up more than one and increase the effect. They can be countered by any kind of shockwave, explosion, lightning, or mushroom boost. Charge and Chuck and Womp now have the Chain Chomp item. It keeps its ability from Double Dash, basically just being a more chaotic version of the Bullet Bill. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong get the Barrel item. It can be thrown forwards or backwards, where it'll radiate a few shockwaves once it hits the ground. This will wipe out anyone who's hit. It can also be used as defense, but instead of breaking, it'll just drop and activate whenever it's hit. Funky Kong and Dixie Kong have the spin out ability. So when Tour, the Super Leaf worked differently. It was a one-time attack thing that would affect a decent radius around the racer, while also providing a small speed boost from what I can tell. This is how the spin out behaves. It's basically just a prolonged Super Bell attack, defending you from items for a bit and knocking out other racers. In the attack, Funky would spin a surfboard and Dixie would spin her hair, but they behave the exact same. King K. Rool and Rabid Kong share the giant banana. It acts just like Double Dash, splitting into smaller bananas when destroyed. Rabid Kong's bananas would also have a glitched appearance, like they do in their home game, but it would have no gameplay difference. When making a Mii, you can assign any special item to each Mii you make. Each of these items have slightly different appearances depending on the character, so you're free to choose different appearances. A few extra things about the special items. Custom items are back in this game, but you can't choose to remove specific special items. It's either all of them or none of them. Special items is an option in versus mode, so you can simply choose to play with normal items. There's also a special items only mode, which honestly just sounds like hell on earth. Players can also pick the same character. I don't see a problem with there being multiple of the same special item on the board. Again, these items are pretty rare. Some can only be spawned once per race, and the placement of the racer also affects if you roll it or not, just like in Double Dash. That was a lot, but that's how I'd imagine the roster and items to be in the next Mario Kart game. I'm sure you noticed the 5 mystery slots, but I'm going to save those for a future video because their unlock status is based around the main gimmicks of this hypothetical game. The next video will be about the Mushroom Cup, so new tracks will be shown off. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Goodbye.